Well, I thought for sure I was digging a clad quarter, but it's not. I don't know that I'll ever get anything off of it, but it's a copper of some sort. I'll see what I can do when I get home. Maybe I'll be able to identify it. On to the next. Well, I found this Liberty Cap large cent last year in the fall, and when I was showing the homeowner what all the things I had found, I said, "Oh, I found this Liberty Cap large cent." He said, "What the heck is that?" And I said, "Well, they used to have these big pennies." He says, "No, I know about that. What the heck is a Liberty Cap?" And I told him the story of the Liberty Cap. And again, not long ago, I was telling somebody about it, and they didn't know about it. So it got me started thinking maybe I should do a little segment on the Liberty Cap. So here we go. Ancient times, around the Mediterranean and the Middle East, there was a soft felt cap that had no brim that the common folk wore, and it was called a bunch of different names. Now I'll stick with the Roman name for now. The Romans called it a palleus. Now the palleus was for the common people, the citizens, the regular Joe on the street, and they were very common all through the Middle East and the Mediterranean, like I said. Now in other cultures, but also the Romans, if you had a slave and you set them free, you would gift them a palleus as a symbol of their freedom, because slaves couldn't wear the palleus. Only a free man could. Now, the Roman goddess Liberty, or Libertas, wore a palleus, and that's where the tradition came from. As a symbol of their freedom, you would give them a palleus. Now that sounds familiar from somewhere. Where have I heard that before?
Dobby?
Master has given Dobby a sock.
What? I didn't...
Master has presented Dobby with clothes. Dobby is free.
Exactly right. J.K. Rowling borrowed that little bit of Roman and ancient tradition for freeing Dobby the elf from his servitude by gifting him clothes. Well, hey, the movies and the books were full of pseudo-Latin hexes and spells, so why not a little Roman culture to go along with it? So there you go. But fast forward to more modern times, and in the Middle Ages, the cap became known as the Phrygian cap because of a region of Turkey, modern-day Turkey, called Phrygia. That's where people thought it came from, so they called it a Phrygian cap. And it still had some connotation of freedom along with it, again, mostly because of the tradition of gifting them to freed slaves, but also from the Roman goddess Liberty. So when the Liberty movement started, especially in France and in America in the 1700s, people adopted the cap as a symbol of the freedom. Now, everybody knows the Liberty Cap large cent, but it's not the only coin that has the Phrygian cap on it. It's hiding right in plain sight on so many other coins. The seated Liberty, there's the Phrygian cap hanging from a pole, hanging high so everybody can see Liberty. On the Mercury dime, that's not Mercury, that's actually Liberty wearing a Phrygian cap that has wings on it. Now the wings are meant to symbolize freedom of thought, but it's still a Phrygian cap. On the Morgan dollar, on the Barber coins, on the capped bust coins, on the Walking Liberty coin, which was the last coin to have the Phrygian cap on it. But the Phrygian cap makes appearances through other countries as well, notably in France, where it's common lore that old ladies would sit and knit Phrygian caps as a sign of the revolution as they gathered around the guillotines. They would hand out these caps to the revolutionaries. So it became a really big symbol back in the 1700s, and it carried through A lot of countries in South America have Phrygian caps in their coats of arms, on their coins, on their flags. Argentina, Cuba, Bolivia, Venezuela, all of them have Phrygian caps somewhere in their culture. If you look at the U.S. Senate, the seal of the U.S. Senate has a liberty cap at the top of it. Now, it was kind of a mocking symbol too, because in monarchies, the top of every symbol or every crest was the top of every crest was a crown or a sign from the monarch. So putting the liberty cap at the top of every seal was like saying, we don't have a monarch, we have liberty here. But even beyond that, even to today, the Smurfs wear liberty caps or Phrygian caps, and it's symbolic of their freedom, even though Gargamel runs around trying to capture them all. Now, Smurfs have been gone for a long time, I think, but even more recent than that, next year is the 2024 Paris Olympics, and the symbol, the mascot of the Paris Olympics, is a little red Phrygian cap with eyes. So here's a picture of them. Looks silly, but that's it. But so that's the story of the Phrygian cap and the liberty cap and why it's there. It represents freedom and liberty. So there you have it. On to the next. Well, now a nice suspender clasp, slide, thing, buckle. Low and slow. Seems to be working. Let's keep going. And the first find of the day is a Merc. Not bad. Let's go. And now an old iron buckle in the ground. It gave a nice squeak because of the shape of it. Anything with an opening like that gives a good signal, even though it's iron. On to the next. And the second silver of the day. It's a war nickel. Awesome. On to the next. If you saw my video on why we called these coins nickels, I'll put a link in the description below. If these war nickels don't have any nickel in them, are they really nickels? I guess so. On to the next. And here's a high tone squeaking through the iron. Probably just a penny. GoPro keeps shutting off. It is here. And it's just a bent old square nail. That little hook in it gives a nice little signal in the ground. There was iron, but it was given a good squeak, and that's why. On to the next. Oh, I found a toy train. Or a truck. Yeah, it's a train, I think. Awesome. On to the next. That's some kind of a pin. The pin is still there, but it looks like it's broken, or gotta be broken. And now a tiny little cuff button. The M3 program seems to be working really well. On to the next. Well, that's going to do it for today. Not a whole lot, but it's always fun to get out on a beautiful spring day, so stay tuned. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe and come along on the next adventure. See you there.